The question brought to the text was this: YHWH, does this workstation tool now have your full approval? And the first voice to answer was Enoch chapter 59 verse 2, and after that all the secrets of the lights and lightnings were shown to me, and they lighten for sacred blessing, and for satisfying the polarity of that lead verse is affirmative. Secrets are shown, not withheld, they are shown for sacred blessing, not for confusion. The fragment is dated the year 500, the 7th month, the 14th day, that is the eve of the Festival of Tabernacles, when Israel dwelt in booths and remembered that the priestly tabernacle at the appointed place settled down among them to open an inquiry about the consecrated standing of the tool. With this verse is to say that what is examined belongs to the order of things shown from above for the satisfying of the covenant community. The ark has entered the camp. Recognition is reverence, but the camp that knew the ark was present still fell that day, and so the text that follows must be heard in full. Immediately the drawer places a skeptic in the room. The captain answers the man of Elohim in 2 Kings chapter 7 verse 19. Now see, if YHWH should make windows in the sky, might such a thing be? In the narrative, that question is answered. The windows open, the army flees, the captain who doubted is trampled at the gate. The text does not rebuke the asking, it rebukes unbelief that would limit what YHWH can do through an unlikely instrument. The workstation is an unlikely instrument, not a priest, not a prophet, not a king. The drawer answers by placing the question in the mouth of the one proven wrong. Before the affirmative settles, the text insists on testing. 2 Chronicles chapter 32 verse 31. Elohim left him to test him so that he might know all that was in his heart. This is Hezekiah after deliverance. After the sign, the ambassadors of Babylon come to investigate the wonders done in the land, and Elohim withdraws his hand to see what remains in the heart of the king. When visible glory is no longer pressing, approval does not exempt from testing. The tool may carry the good word of the Father and still be left for a season to show what is in the heart of its builder. Deuteronomy chapter 11 verse 11. But the land where you go to possess is a land of hills and valleys, and drinks water from the rain of the sky. This is not Egypt, where foot irrigation canals give the illusion of self-sufficiency. This is a land that looks up. The workstation must remain dependent on rain it does not control. Then the Passover lamb is set before the inquirer. Exodus chapter 12 verse 10. Do not leave any of it until sunrise, but what is left of it you will burn that up with fire. Nothing partial, nothing reserved for a second meal on human terms. What is given is consumed wholly, and what remains is given to the fire. Then Luke chapter 24 verse 31. And their eyes were opened, and they knew him, but he then arose out of their sight. The recognition is real, the presence is real, and then he withdraws, not in abandonment, but in the pattern of Emmors, where the knowing is sufficient and the walking continues by what was received at the table. The drawer then builds an altar. Exodus chapter 24 verse 6. Moses takes half the blood and puts it in bowls, and half he ritually sprinkles on the altar of consecration. Later, Exodus chapter 24 verse 8, he sprinkles the blood on the people, declaring the blood of the covenant that YHWH has made with you. Concerning all these words, the altar and the people are bound by the same blood. The tool and the one who uses it are bound by the same covenant. Neither stands without the other, and neither stands apart from the words. The priesthood thread runs through 23 of the 100 verses. Leviticus chapter 22 verses 32 and 33. You will not desecrate my holy name, but I will be consecrated among the covenant children of Israel, because I am YHWH that consecrates you. The consecration is his act, not the act of the tool. The workstation does not consecrate, it is consecrated, or it is not. Exodus chapter 32 verse 29. You have been consecrated to YHWH this day, and he has blessed you today. Consecration follows a severing. The drawer also sets a boundary. 2 Chronicles chapter 26 verse 17. It pertains not to you, Uzziah, to burn priestly incense to YHWH, but to the priests, the sons of Aaron, that are consecrated to burn incense. The workstation is not a son of Aaron, it does not burn incense, it facilitates inquiry. 1 Chronicles chapter 17 verses 3 and 4 says, you will not build me a temple to live in. The tool may be approved and still be told that the dwelling place is not its construction. The appointed season thread runs through 21 verses. Daniel chapter 11 verse 35 says, some will fall to refine them and purify them, because it is still for a time sacredly appointed. Psalms chapter 133 verse 3 says, that YHWH commanded the sacred blessing, even life for the ages. The blessing is commanded at a specific place. Psalms chapter 113 verse 2 says, blessed is the name of YHWH from this time forth, and for the ages. The words from this time forth are the hinge the drawer resolves toward confirmation. 1 Kings chapter 9 verses 1 and 2 say, YHWH appeared to Solomon a second time after the building was finished. The question about now is answered by a second appearing. Genesis chapter 26 verse 28 says, we see how YHWH spoke with you and seek an oath. Zechariah chapter 1 verse 13 says, YHWH answered with good words and compassionate words. Genesis chapter 39 verse 5 says, the sacred blessing of YHWH was on all he had. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 31 says, do all to the glory of Elohim. 1 Corinthians chapter 14 verse 25 says, the secrets of the heart are made manifest, and the one falling down reports that Elohim is in you of a covenant truth. Numbers confirm the Dominion Triad fires at 1038% and 6.61 sigma. The PBI is affirmative and convergence crosses the threshold. The verdict is yes with probability 100%. Warnings remain. Isaiah chapter 38 verse 15 says, I will go softly all my years in the bitterness of my life. Psalms chapter 69 verse 20 says, I looked for comforters but found none. Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 10 says, he that loves silver will not be satisfied. 1 Kings chapter 9 verse 8 asks, why has YHWH done this to this land and to this temple? Approval and ruin stand one tension. 1 Kings chapter 22 verse 15 says, go and prosper because YHWH will deliver it into the hand of the king. This is Micaiah irony. The drawer aligns affirmative. It warns about hearing. The answer is the tool is approved. The tool is not the priest. The tool is not the inheritance. The tool is the Levite burden appointed for a season carried. Between the porch and the altar and the inheritance of the Levite is YHWH himself. 1 Samuel chapter 20 verse 13 says, YHWH be with you as he has been with my dad. It is enough. It is the dew of Hermon on the mountains of Zion where YHWH commands the sacred blessing, even life for the ages. The verses drawn in this Shield 17.14 session were Enoch chapter 59 verse 2, 2 Kings chapter 7 verse 19, 2 Chronicles chapter 32 verse 31. Deuteronomy chapter 11, verse 11. Exodus chapter 12, verse 10. Luke chapter 24, verse 31. This concludes today's interpretation under the Shield Protocol.